Listen to that crowd.
Oh, that's a crowd.
Yeah, you're live now.
Sounds like
Jimmy, by the way.
rain. Live! Oh, from the Hartford District Court here at 95 Washington Street in Hartford. It's a Data Queen free edition of Business Pants Friday featuring the Data Queen's friends Emma and Matt and Greg. And I'm a dude with more than 4 letters in his name, thank God. It's always been... I know you guys think this is stupid, but it's always been a point of pride for me that my first name, has more than 4 letters in it. Because where I grew up, everyone had either 4 or 3 letters, but I was the monster with 6 letters. I was very proud of that.
You got to be proud of something.
Stop staring daggers at me. It's a Friday show, May 13th. Ooh, Friday the 13th. Ari is out. Ari is doing her civic duty this week, Matt. Is that what she's doing?
Something like that. Yeah, I think she's busy judging someone.
All right. Well, this is a live show. We're broadcasting live, so we shouldn't tell people where she is.
You're all going to descend on it.
In her place, I'm going to stand in for Ari this week. I'm going to have 3 Goodliest stories, but we're going to do our typical Friday show: story of the week, Goodliest of the week, Ass Holiest of the week, and of course, Emma usually wins the week with her irritatingness of the week section. And we have for our podcast listeners, we have a very special new. What are we calling these? Vignettes episode? What are these?
These are Punks and Pinstripes minutes.
Yeah.
Except, let's be fair, Greg Larkin. And I say that with love because I'm his biggest fan. Your minute is ballooned already to what? 2.5 minutes?
2.5. Yeah, 2.5 this week.
So
2.5. We're gonna drop.
I don't know where you got. I don't know where you got that multiplier, but I didn't see the sale for that.
That's how minutes work.
Okay, that's how minutes work. All right, let's do it. Come on, you ready? What?
Yes.
Emma, what's our timer? What are we doing? You putting a timer up for us?
We're doing 5 minutes.
5
Ready?
minutes. Oh, yeah. You know why we're doing 5 minutes? Because that's the only timer you have. Be honest.
No, I downloaded
There
a
was
bunch.
2.
5 is great.
Five is
do we have anything above 5?
Shut up and do the 5.
No, you don't
right,
get
let's go.
above 5.
Just
Exactly.
do 5. Here you go.
we don't
Go.
have it.
It's timing.
Here we go. Story of the week. I have 4 categories here. First is founder fetish.
Ooh.
We're back to the founder fetish with a big story out of the New York Times that Bolt built $11 billion payment business on inflated metrics and eager investors, featuring Ryan Breslow, Stanford dropout. I picked this one because I'm being unusually optimistic for a Friday morning, and I think are we nearing the end of the road for Silicon Valley founder fetish? Is this the last one? Never going to end? What do you think? That's why I picked this one.
This still happened. You're like 8 seconds away from Theranos. It still happened again. It happened again.
Right, but could this be the final warning sign? Like stop, like do due diligence, stop falling for charm.
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, sorry. All right, I thought maybe. All right. Number 2, the anti-woke.
Ooh, is up my alley.
2 disheartening stories in the anti-woke. And you can call this category whatever you want. The anti-ESG, the anti-left wing. I don't know what you want to call this. But there's 2 stories that really stuck out to me. Female CEO at Aviva is told that she's not the man for the job at a flabbergastingly sexist AGM. Again, that's the headline. That's not my language. Although I agree.
It's not good.
For once, I agree with the headline writers. Flabbergastingly sexist.
Yes.
Yeah. And the other one is the former vice president, thank God, Mike Pence, rips socially minded investing, wants to rein in ESG. I love it. This is very WWF. I love this. But that's the anti-woke category. So we have founder fetish, anti-woke. The third category is, it's close to the second category, but it's the new era of, we're now afraid of the anti-woke. So our corporations, are they already afraid of people who are anti-woke? And we have 2 big stories here. 2 big stories here. A PR firm that works with Netflix and Starbucks quietly advised clients to not take a stance on abortion rights. And a story we covered, I think, I don't know, this week. Fortune magazine contacted 30 of the most powerful companies in America, and I think only one of them had anything to say about Roe versus Wade. So are corporations already afraid of the anti-woke? You know, is Ron DeSantis winning? That's the question.
The answer to that is yes. But
That's
I
my
just
third
saw
one. Yeah.
today the Times was running a story about how corporations are now leery of GOP backlash to the things that they're saying. So I think it's it's legit.
But where was this? The Times?
I think it was in the Times. Yeah.
Okay. And my fourth pick for story of the week, and this is for you, Emma. The Great Zuck Disappearance. One thing Emma and I have noticed, and I don't know if it coincides with when Facebook changed its name to Meta Platforms, or maybe it's just that, since Elon Musk did that terrible Saturday Night Live appearance, he's sort of become the new Zuck. We don't hear from Zuck anymore. This show used to have so many Zuck headlines, so much Facebook nonsense, that we used to have whole weeks where we promised that we'd be Zuck free. We promised our listeners that we wouldn't delve into more horrible Facebook stories. So I'm calling this last story the Great Zuck Disappearance, and the headline is Meta slows hiring, blaming Apple war in its stock price. So there you go. Anyone want to weigh in here?
I can on your last point there, the Great Zuck disappearance. I have to say, I think that he actually is making a moderate re-entry to the news, because as I was going through today in particular, it was more Zuck heavy than it has been the past couple of weeks, because Elon has really stolen all of his thunder. But he's doing stupid shit now, like advertising his VR glasses, but he pixelated the actual headset so that people couldn't see it. So it was a picture of him in the VR headset, but you could not actually see the headset because they weren't ready to actually release that to the public.
I don't know what any of that means.
I'm so confused.
It's
but I'm with you. I'm not saying you didn't explain that well, but I don't know what any of that means.
He's coming back in a stupid capacity. I am interested in when he's coming back in a
evil capacity.
In an evil capacity, exactly.
You're claiming that. Oh, I see what you're saying. Because I would refute that he's coming back in a stupid way, because he's always been stupid. But I see what you're saying. He's trying to drop the evil.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. He's pivoted.
I mean, you just stopped the timer.
I did.
To stop the timer.
The timer's for you. We get as much time.
No, I'm done.
I know.
Okay.
You did an
I didn't realize
job.
that. I didn't realize that. So to be fair, I was done at 4 minutes. So
no, you were great.
Yeah.
You did great.
Thank you, Matt. Oh wait, have you voted yet, Emma?
No, I haven't. I just wanted to comment on the Zuck stuff first.
Okay.
I am gonna go with story of the week being the afraid of the anti-woke.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, just nothing else really hits quite like it for me. In particular, the second article, the one about how no one has anything to say, I feel like is the story. No one wants to say anything.
Yep.
No one feels like they can say anything, even though they 100% can. They're just cowardly and want to make money. And I think that's it.
The only one was CVS Healthcare, led by a woman. But I'm not saying that's why, but I'm just saying that's the only one that reacted.
Give Sheryl Sandberg credit. Give Sheryl Sandberg credit. She did it. She leaned right into this conversation.
No, I do actually.
Right.
I do give her credit.
I don't.
I do.
I like that. There's a very slight awkward pause after you say that.
No, I do.
I'm torn between the anti-woke and afraid of the anti-woke. I do think the anti-woke has been like, yeah, I know. This is why we're ridiculous. Has been like a 2-week story. It's like, the build up to this point where we talked about this yesterday or 2 days ago. I have never heard of at an AGM, someone stands up at the Q&A session and
unbelievable
says something sexist, and then 2 more people who aren't related to that first person do the exact same thing.
Well, we don't know that, but yeah.
I mean, that unless they're all hanging out at a bar and they're like, wouldn't it be funny
that could have happened,
right?
Drinking at the airport bar on the way to the annual meeting.
But it's still shocking. It's still pretty shocking. It takes some real sacklessness to stand up with the microphone in front of you, look at the woman and say, you're not the man for the job, and your board is really diverse. Congrats. Maybe they should go back to housekeeping. Like, that takes something
not to
special.
mention for a woman who at a meeting for the shareholders, a woman who, since she has taken over 2 years ago, the stock price has risen dramatically. I mean,
Yeah, dramatic. She's reversed a downward spiral. But being afraid of the anti-woke.
Sorry, that was a super late buzz. I was really
yeah.
I was thinking
Don't
about
apologize.
it, and then late I decided to do it late.
You know what?
Sorry.
We've been forgetting to catch up with you about these buzzes
so
at
just
the end
do
of the
it
show. So
right
just
now.
tell us now. What are you buzzing?
I am buzzing the sacklessness
Wow,
verbiage.
She was really like mixing that up in her.
I know. Well, I was
porridge
gonna say it takes some balls to say that, but then I was like, actually,
I don't like either of those terms.
Balls would have been worse, but sacklessness is
I hate all that.
It's more creative, I suppose.
That's
but
what I was going for.
The irony of you of you using a metaphor to refer to the male genitalia as an equivalent for bravery or like manhood is ironic in the context of you talking about a guy who is saying something sexist to a CEO.
But it was, to Matt's credit, it was balls in cheek. I mean, tongue in cheek. Come on, I don't get a buzz for that.
Yeah,
no, because you're just trying to goad me.
Terrible humor.
He's trying. I think because
I'm with you though, Emma. I'm with you. I love the return of the buzz. We've had like 2 in the last few weeks. I want more buzzing.
You got it.
Well, I'll be sure to say something really offensive right now. I think because of Roe v. Wade, it has to be afraid of the anti-woke. I agree with Emma. This week was won by Roe v. Wade and the 1600s.
Agreed.
Effectively.
Agreed. All right, moving on. Good list of the week. So the story of the week really is that already corporations are afraid of the anti-woke police. I mean, it didn't take much. All it took was one terrible governor from Florida yelling at Disney, and they can't even talk about.
He's costing his own government $1 billion. And it can't cost Disney anything.
Or the end of abortion rights, like that again. This is the most mind-boggling part to me. Is like this one seems like the easiest to get behind to fight this one. Like this is the biggest no-brainer.
Do you think they talk? Do you think they'd speak out if they ended like the right of black people to vote, or reinstated slavery, or said women can't vote? Do you think they'd like?
I would actually like
some of those things.
I mean, I know you're kind of joking, but I would actually like to know the answer to this because I think they wouldn't. I think they're gun shy now.
Here's the thing: I think that they don't want women to not vote because on the Republican side of things, white women are very crucial to Republican success in elections. Demographically, they just are.
Why?
Middle-aged white women vote, and middle-aged white women very frequently vote for Republican candidates. So they don't really. I don't know. Ask a political scientist.
Tell me why.
No, look. In the end, the fact is these corporations are just sackless. Let's move on.
All right, moving on. It's the good list of the week section, which has been moved up, and I'm channeling Ari here. Although I took it seriously. I'm not making fun of Ari this time. I'm taking it seriously. The Data Queen, she's out doing better things.
Let's get this timer up on Damien.
Ready?
Yeah. I don't even need a full 5 minutes.
Good.
He doesn't even need it.
I took it seriously, though, and I have one special FU at the end because I just felt a little anger for some reason earlier this morning, so I
during
added
Goodliest.
it on.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, so I only have 3 stories here in Goodliest and a special FU. First, Salesforce. I know you hate this, Emma, but I love finding any stories that make Salesforce or Apple look good. Salesforce will help employees relocate for abortion access. So, it was hard to get the right information out of this article, but this is the first corporation, I think, who is standing behind helping them relocate out of their state.
Yeah, as in
give them financial
entirely.
Yeah, which I think is great. And I know Emma is going to disagree, but it's fine. I'm waiting for it. Number 2.
Don't worry about it.
The Norwegian Oil Fund, which is what's the biggest sovereign wealth fund in the world, right? Which
I think that's Japan. But yes,
they owns the equivalent of 1.5% of every listed company in the world. This Norwegian fund
sounds like a lot.
Like over $1 trillion. Yeah, sounds like a lot. They're denouncing corporate greed over executive pay. What it sounds like is that they're actually saying a thing.
They're not doing it though.
No, they're voting against more CEO pay packages. They're trying to get a movement going. They feel like shareholders are being too quiet. I don't know.
All right,
sounds
Norway.
good to me. All right.
Even your Goodliest are depressing me.
I know. It's hard. The third one, which made me feel good, is this simple headline from the Wall Street Journal. Musk's Twitter deal is no sure thing. That made me feel good.
Me too.
Call me a simpleton. And before you vote on those three stories, let me get my special FU out of the way. This is to Max Chafkin, a Bloomberg writer.
Wow.
Also the biographer of a Peter Thiel book called The Contrarian. But he had an article in the Bloomberg that we tagged.
The Bloomberg.
And the headline of the article is "Tech companies coddled their employees, now they're firing them." Okay, so here's a quote from some quotes from the article. Overpaying and even coddling talented engineers has for years been seen as a point of pride among tech's leadership class. Facebook touts a sabbatical program, 30-day sabbatical program. Twitter added a company-wide mental health breaks called Days of Rest. Max, mental health benefits for your workers is not coddling. Okay,
yeah,
so really, Max, you're a special kind of jerk for that. I'm sorry. And secondly, you're throwing around the term overpaying, attached, and it's completely unattached from any real data. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what really? Like, I looked through the audience. No, really, I would like to see if you're going to use a term like that, which sounds quantitative, not qualitative. How do you know they're being overpaid? I just hate this. I hate the insinuation that because tech companies are treating their workers well, that they're overpaid for some reason. You see how much money the executives at these tech companies make, how much the owners make, how much the founders make, how much the shareholders make for these high stock prices. You have no right to call these people overpaid unless you're going to give me proof. So a special FU. That's it. I wanted to get it off my chest.
I just want to point out that Damien, because he didn't have another place to put this annoyed story, he just dropped it in Goodliest of the Week while Ari wasn't here.
Well, you guys always get to get mad at things in this show, and I just it really pissed me off, this article, Max Chafkin, and I hope you call in because it doesn't mean that you can't become a friend of the show. I want you to be a friend of the show. I'm mad at you.
My vote is for Damien's pointing out the FU of the week. I like mental health. This is what Greg Larkin said last week on this show. Yeah. Mental health benefits are not coddling.
Oh, right.
Sending them to, just because, what did he say? He said something like, you give your employees a free bagel. You're not the Ford Foundation, right? That's
Greg.
He's absolutely right.
For once, I agree with Greg.
So
Max, you're making fun of
FU as Goodliest of the Week.
You're making fun of Twitter, and by the way, Twitter added these mental days of rest during the pandemic, and that's coddling.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know a single person who has broken free their increased depression, anxiety from the pandemic. But anyway, Emma, do you have a vote here for Goodliest of the Week?
I, by process of elimination, have to go with. Oh, actually, I am not.
Yeah, you're going to say Salesforce. What are you going to say about Salesforce?
Don't worry about it. That'll
come
later.
Don't worry about it. Okay.
It's Musk.
It's I don't know. I struggle to categorically assign the good label to
it's hard.
The Twitter deal not being a sure thing, because he's already messed up so much that I feel like even if the deal doesn't go through, there's still going to be some insane fallout after it. Yeah. So that's arguably going to cause an even bigger problem. So I can't cast my vote for that one. Sorry, Matt. So I am actually going to go with Norwegian Oil Fund denouncing corporate greed over executive pay.
All right. Wow, you're going for the wonky one. She's just trying to kiss ass because she's going to a big ESG conference next week in New York City. So she's trying to pre-kiss ass to wonky ESG types.
If you are at the S&P Global One, S&P, really get if your marketing team needs help naming things, we're here. It's like the S&P Global One Sustainability Conference. I don't know what it's called, but the S&P conference in New York City. Emma and Ari are going to be there. They're both going to be there. So go check that out.
Yeah, and we're going to send Emma around with a microphone. We're hoping she can record some good stuff. I'm going to break the tie here. The Goodliest story of the week is I'm going to go with Emma just because she's Emma. Yes. But I'm disappointed that we didn't hear her opinion about Salesforce. But maybe another.
It's
time.
coming. It's going to be irritating.
And let me add something else about this Twitter thing quickly. Is that I didn't realize how deep this anti-Twitter thing from the right was, because I guess there was something from Fox Business where they were saying that they're so angry at Twitter for some reason that they're saying there's 8,000 employees. No one knows what any of them do. They should fire 6,000 of them.
Wow.
Like, this is real reporting from Fox Business. Like, this is their version of our show. Is
real
fire most of Twitter. Okay, I don't know. Is that business reporting? I mean, come on. Nobody cares.
All right, it's my turn.
It's Matt's turn.
So everyone, be quiet and listen to me now. All right, asshole of the week. First up, your first option. Holiest of the week. Your first option. Yeah, because we got to be Beavis and Butthead about everything. Is Stanford.
Is that a bad thing?
No,
Stanford.
Great. Stanford as your first option for asshole of the week. Just this week, you got Ryan Breslow in the news. He is a Stanford dropout. Another Theranos WeWorky cult of personality dropout story. Takes investor money and runs away. You have Elon Musk, who managed to go to Stanford for approximately 2 days.
Just like Ryan Breslow. Yeah.
And he blew up, Zuck's return from evil to stupid by making a stupid tweet about how the deal's on hold, which it's not. It's not on hold. No one's holding anything. They're gonna do the deal. This is all dumb. It's grandstanding, and shut up. Parag Agrawal, who where's that man? What are you doing? You're a Stanford grad. Like
he's firing executives.
He's busy firing his executives.
And
then Peter Thiel, who seems to be behind all the news. Honestly, what the fuck is the use of Stanford? I think we're past the pale. Stanford, go away. Everybody who comes out of you turns out terrible.
I'm glad you mentioned this because we were going to ask Ari next week for the Goodliest section to see if she can find some good things that came out of Stanford. In this
find
space,
all good
in
things.
In the public corporate space. I'm not talking about like a doctor who lives in Duluth who is really good at like something.
I mean, they could have gone to Berkeley. They could have gone anywhere. Like, I'm talking about Stanford. All right. Stanford. Number 2 option, the 1600s. The 1600s, Samuel Alito is referring to texts from the 1600s to set the precedent for abortion rights 400 years later. And powerful women today, as Damien pointed out in Story of the Week, are sitting there up front while they're getting blasted by sexist comments and being told they're basically glorified housemaids. And women now, with the abortion issue on the table in this country, the HR heads of HR, who are all women, are going to be forced to clean up after the men. So even in corporate America in 2022, we treat our women as if they're housemaids from the 1600s. 1600s. You suck. Why are we talking about you now? There's literally nothing we should be talking about you for. Like,
should we?
Almost 500 years.
Wow.
Do we want to get Ari to tell us some good things? Should we have Ari look up good things from the 1600s too while she's doing Stanford?
I mean, like I just can't figure out how this is even newsworthy. Stuff that happened in the 1600s. Well, but thank you for bringing it back.
I will add this:
throwbacks.
I think we can officially call, from an ESG perspective, we can officially call what happened at that meeting, at that annual meeting, that they Will Smithed her. Did they not?
Ooh, they did. Wow.
Right?
They did.
It's really a continuation of that horrible moment.
It's not so different from throwing cabbage from the back of Shakespeare's theater.
I would say it's much worse.
All right. Number 3 option. And this one's near and dear to my heart. Riding in airplanes.
Why do you care about
this? These are headlines from this week, just the adventures of airplanes. Virgin Atlantic flight to New York forced into midair U-turn after bosses discover pilot isn't qualified. A passenger with no flying experience landed a plane at a Florida airport after the pilot became incapacitated.
That sounds good.
Flights face the worst delays they have in possibly the history of ever. And you want to know why? Because of SpaceX launches, private flights by executives. The air traffic was so jammed that they had delays all through Florida. And this on top of, over the last couple of weeks, masks being removed, and they're making announcements mid-flight that you could take your mask off. And the New York Times, the day after they announced that masks were being removed, did a whole piece about, can you get COVID by sitting in an airplane if you're wearing a mask and no one else is? And the definitive answer was, of course you can. Of course you can.
Yeah, because I always think about what about your eyeball sockets? Can't it breathe? Can't they breathe?
It goes
in
beyond your
COVID?
eyes. The mask only stops 54% of the particles, and the reason why everyone else has to be masked is because if they're masked, it raises it to like 90% of the particles. You're not going to get. My point is, why do we need to ride in airplanes anymore? Just fall out of the sky, be done, and that's it. Those are your 3 assholes of the week.
I know Emma likes to make fun of France a lot, but I will say this: kudos to France. They are getting rid of all their short flights.
Yeah, they did that already. Yeah,
for train travel, and I know Emma is thinking, well, can't really do that in the U.S. because our train system sucks. But Emma, maybe you and your friends should get off your butts and help kind of improve the infrastructure for our train travel. Yeah.
I'll work for the boring company. Maybe they can fix it for me. Oh my god!
All right. Asshole is of the week.
Enough.
Tough one, Matt. It's tough. Although I wonder if they're not connected in some way, Stanford and the 1600s, because there's a feeling to me that they are. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I think it was founded in 1885.
You go first, Emma.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I know, but there's something about the angry Peter Thielian, Zuckerbergian, Muskin man that comes out of Stanford that makes me, I don't know.
If anything, I feel like the 1600s are much more Harvard. You know?
Ooh.
Okay.
Wow.
It's New England, it's witch trials, it's, there's some compelling arguments.
Why don't you go first on this one? What's your asshole of the week?
Okay. Matt holds a hatred for airplanes that, I understand to a degree, but his hatred really outweighs mine. Matt likes to shit on planes a lot.
Oh, they're horrible. They're
horrible.
Can you think of a more horrible experience that once you leave your apartment, can you think of anything more horrible than taking an airplane ride somewhere?
I was in LA a week and a half ago.
City name dropper.
On the flight back, I'm waiting in line, and you know how like everybody waits in this amorphous line waiting to get called, and it's so obnoxious because you can't like get in line because everyone wants to get on the plane at the same time.
It's blobular.
Yep.
This time, the actual attendants or like the customer service agents, whatever, were standing in front and they were yelling, and I don't mean like saying it just like curtly. They were yelling at everyone in the line. If your bag does not fit in this box, you are going to ruin this trip for everyone. You're moving out of the line. Like they were yelling at people. So this woman takes her garment bag that she's holding, goes to the desk and says, "Hey, I don't really want to check this, but is this okay? Like it doesn't really fit. It's not quite right." And at the attendant says, "Oh, that'll be fine. Garment bag, we'll make it. That is fine." And then she gets in line to get on the plane, and the guy checking everyone on the plane goes, I already said this. Get out of the line. Now you're going to take everyone." I was like, what is this experience that we're having? Then you get on the plane, and they're like, "Oh, do you want a peanut? That's $7. Take out your credit card." You don't get anything. The thing is terrible. Everything about it.
Can I just say that I don't. Just check your bags, people. Enough. Just, I'm sorry. I don't get this fetish.
When your bag ends up in Des Moines and
so
you
what?
end up in
You don't
North
need
Carolina,
that stuff anyway. You don't need it.
Not to mention the fact that there have been more cancellations because of understaffing, overworking, and air traffic now than ever. It's the worst.
It's my fault. I take blame for that rant. That was my bad.
Yeah. I don't know what Matt, are you going away again somewhere?
I am short airplanes. That's what I am. Okay. I'm short airplanes. Look, I'm long cars.
It's hard to disagree with Matt on this one. I don't know of a more miserable thing than flying. Even when I'm going somewhere exciting, I dread. I have such anxiety about the whole experience.
I can think of something worse than airplanes, and that is the 1600s. Yes. So
no, I'm not talking about this game. I'm talking about like things we do.
I'm always in the game.
Things we do in public.
I'm never out of the game. It is.
You should see
100%.
how attuned my hearing is at knowing. It's like radar. If when I'm waiting in line at the airport and I hear a baby crying like 1.2 miles away, and I can tell by my radar if it's walking towards me at a certain rate, it's going to be on my flight. Like I am like attuned. I am attuned to everything.
You're like Sherlock Holmes of the airport.
Exactly. I know.
Baby Sherlock Holmes.
Oh
Baby Sherlock Holmes. All right.
All right.
Emma voted for
1600s.
It's hard to, in this horrible week of corporations not standing up for simple human rights for women. It's hard, as much as I really do hate these Stanford people. Oh God, this is terrible choice.
There's a lot of pricks in the news this week.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like the Stanford thing is not new though. This is like a Matt philosophy, so it's not like a new thing. It's an ongoing problem. So I'm going to go with the 1600s. So that's the assholiest of the week. The 1600s.
That the 1600s is the new thing is the big problem, isn't it? Like it was
I'm so
the 500-year-old thing.
I'm so ashamed that I named my son Samuel at this point. I'm thinking about changing his name legally because I don't want to be aligned with Samuel Alito in any way.
Wow.
Really, you're aligned with Samuel Alito's mom. He didn't choose his name.
That just got weirder.
Is there a
you're welcome.
Let's
irritating us of the week. Come on, Emma.
All
Put the timer up. Come on.
Let's do it.
Because you know how you like to go on and on. Come on.
Oh yeah, that's my problem. Yeah.
I never.
All right. Number 1. PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan leaves staff fuming after email on abortion rights turns into a speech about his cats.
Yeah.
That is a real headline.
I'm not sure I need any more. I don't like.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna give it to you anyway because it's really something. Of
course,
so
this is real. This is not part of our
This is real.
This
is
100.
No. This is
Okay.
truly an honest. This is really what happened. So the head of PlayStation urged employees in a letter to respect differences of opinion on abortion rights before entering into 5 detailed paragraphs about his 2 cats' first birthday. He said, "We owe it to each other and to PlayStation's millions of users to respect differences of opinion among everyone in our internal and external communities. Respect does not equal agreement, but it is fundamental to who we are as a company and as a valued global brand." That was his thing. He basically was like, if your fellow employees don't believe in your right to control your own body, you have to be fine with that. Yeah, and then he went on to say he would like to share something lighthearted to help inspire everyone to be mindful of having balance that can help ease the stress of uncertain world events. And then he said it was recently his 2 cats' first birthday, and then began elaborating over the next few paragraphs about his cats' birthday cakes, their noises, and his desire to get a dog one day.
Wow.
There it is.
Wow. Who is this guy? How has he not come up in the news before? I mean, he's a special kind of stupid.
He's a CEO of like a subsidiary of a subsidiary. That's why you don't.
Right. It's it's a part of Sony. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's Sony.
Yes.
But is he Japanese? No, Jim Ryan.
No.
Yeah, no. Okay, my next 3 are shorter. 2, Elon Musk to serve as temporary CEO of Twitter after deal is complete. So this was actually a last week's headline, but I saw a roundup of all of the companies that Elon is currently involved in, and it reignited my annoyance about this headline. He's currently the head of 4 other companies: Tesla, which is electric car bullshit; SpaceX, which is space bullshit; Neuralink, which is mind control bullshit; and The Boring Company, which is hole drilling bullshit. And he's not the CEO of all of those companies, but for the ones that he is not the CEO of, he has placed a crony as the head of them, and he is in control anyway. That's number 2. Number 3, AT&T, Walmart, Citi, and other mega corporations bankrolled a likely wave of state abortion bans. This is not unexpected, but obviously extremely annoying, and this is where Salesforce comes in, especially considering that many of the companies named are the companies who have recently promised their employees that they would cover interstate travel for abortion access. Those companies being, in particular, Microsoft, Citigroup, Amazon, and Salesforce.
Wait, you just add Salesforce because I don't even see it in your notes. You just add it?
But okay, here's what I can tell you about Salesforce because I happened to do this research earlier
you don't get
in the
to
week.
Just add it,
for something else.
You have to be verifiable facts.
I can.
Okay.
Salesforce has donated to Senator Todd Young from Indiana, who said about the Biden presidency when he was getting elected that it was a great disappointment to him that making abortions more accessible is a tenet of this administration. So, not great.
I was looking at the headquarters for Salesforce to see like how many other employees would actually might need to relocate. And yes, there is one in Indianapolis, Indiana, which is probably why they donated.
Correct. Exactly. But they donated to Todd, who doesn't want abortion to be legal in Indiana.
And can I go on record? I'm going to steal a little bit of your time here. You feel free to stop the clock. This is and it's going to be a very quick very quick statement.
Mhm.
There is not a more boring city in our great land than Indianapolis, Indiana. It's a terrible,
That's brutal.
terrible, boring, horrible place. It is just. I'm sorry.
The poor
Jim Irsay
Hoosiers.
doesn't agree.
Oh, it is. It is just a nothing, a big nothing burger. All right, keep going.
Sorry, Hoosiers. All right.
No, don't be
And
sorry.
finally, number
Mike
4.
Pence. Yeah.
Major meat companies lied about impending shortages to keep workers on site
Oh
at the
yeah,
height of the pandemic.
Glad you covered this one.
I just grabbed a couple of details from this. So there are 5 companies involved, all of the usual suspects. And a doctor at a hospital close to one of the companies who has a processing plant in Texas emailed an executive of the company in April of 2020 and said 100% of all COVID-19 patients that we have in the hospital are either direct employees or family members of your employees. And then he said, I'm not sure the situation is being treated with the urgency it deserves. The doctor continued, your employees will get sick and may die if this factory continues to be open. And they did not close the factory for a while afterward. And then
Doesn't
a
seem
CFO.
like irritating.
I know. I have to admit, I had the same thought. It's not irritating because it's just tragic and horrible, but I felt the need to talk about it this week. And then the CFO of one of the other companies used scare tactics about a meat shortage to keep people working, and he released all these statements, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
Wow.
Blah blah blah. The end. I like that.
Yep.
I mean, there's so much to choose from in here.
There's a lot to choose from. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to boo.
It's
Well, maybe you're booing your great.
you're booing the choices.
Something like that.
I mean, pivoting from abortion rights into my cats is really a next level irritating thing, right? Like, because
Yeah, I feel
literally only a white man can do that.
Only.
That's actually a skill that we're born with that most of the rest
Especially a
of
white
isn't.
man with 2 first names. Never trust him.
Oh, I like it.
I mean, and who knows when his cat's birthdays are? I mean, there's a lot of problems I have with that.
Like I love my cats. I really love my cat. But
I've had many cats. I have a cat now, and I have no idea what her birthday was.
Do you think he made that part up just so we could shoehorn it into the story?
Which would make it more irritating, not less, right? Because he's then actively trying to think of a way to talk about his cats next to abortion rights.
Well,
like literally all he wanted to do was talk about his cats, but he had to get everyone in the room with some pretense, right?
Yeah, but he's even cheating on his cats because it's his cat's freaking birthday and he's talking about how he wants a dog. That's just rude.
Cheating on his cats.
Everything about it's not great.
Almost buzzworthy.
Elon Musk, who everyone celebrates as just a genius, is okay running 5 separate companies. And Jack Dorsey wants to go to Africa and we lose our collective fucking minds about it. That's going to irritate me forever.
Yep.
But that's a last week story. So I think I'm going to disqualify it for that.
Okay.
Bankrolling abortion bans, that's not surprising. I think if we looked, almost every single company with any sort of presence in every state has bankrolled someone who hates abortion.
Yeah, that's the problem. They tend to bankroll both sides.
They just
do.
bankroll
It's like
everything.
playing the roulette wheel at playing red and black.
They need to be able to get a meeting anytime, and the way you get a meeting is you pay, right? So, and then
really?
you're with the meat companies pretending there was a shortage. We spent so much time covering this because we thought it was like, just don't eat so much meat. We didn't understand what the big fucking deal was, right? Like, so you have 2 sausages for breakfast instead of 6, right? Like, it's probably for the best.
6.
I'm just saying, some people do.
No, I know. I'm with you.
I'm
curious how much
that one's more infuriating. So I'm gonna go with PlayStation Jim Ryan because that is just irritating.
To me, it's a no-brainer. I am like as the person who's responsible for a lot of the ESG Onion content here at our company. First of all, I'm jealous that I didn't think of this. They're hard for me on some days.
Hey, you didn't need to think of this. Someone actually did it.
Yeah, but this is otherworldly. I mean, honestly, we try to make the case in so many different ways of why we think why we need to have more women in leadership, and that only 5% of the S&P 500 is led by women is absolutely appalling. But how about this? How about this is the first example in our argument of why we need more women? Because really? Like this is a leader of a company? I mean, this is beyond tone deaf. This is like a man who thinks that eating kitty litter is probably high in antioxidants. I don't even know.
5 paragraphs. 5 paragraphs about his cats.
All I can say is Jim Ryan, I think you might be an asshole.
I think can we just actually reprint the story as the ESG Not Onion and just put it out and see if anyone notices?
Let's do it.
I think people would think it's
Let's do it because it saves me like 2 hours of
That's the winner right there. Speaking of
winners,
definitely
the winner.
Emma,
once again, what's that? What?
We're on Who Won the Week now, right? We both
voted. Let's wrap up the show. Who won the week predictions? I'm going to go first because once again, Emma wins my week. Not only for just picking a home run of a irritatingest of the week story. I don't even know how I feel. I'm a little jealous. I missed this somehow. Emma and I compete for headline grabbing. I don't know how I missed this. This is a classic. But also, and here's why Emma's really winning for me. She figured out a way how to cover that big meat story about them manufacturing a meat crisis to stay open. I saw that story yesterday. I didn't know how we were going to cover it. I didn't know it would slip through the cracks. I was worried that we'd forget about it. We forget about a lot of good stories here. Emma got it in there. Love it. Come on.
Yeah, that was a pure editorial win of the week.
I don't know what I'm doing.
No,
my coffee is both ramping up and dying away at the same time, so I'm just a mess mentally.
I have a winner is Samuel Alito. There's nobody else who owned the week more than Samuel Alito.
No, it's not who owned the week; it's who won the week.
I'm sorry, he won. I mean, the fact that like all I can read and think about and talk about is the removal of human rights from women based on a precedent that a witch hunter used in the 1600s. There was an SNL skit in which they acted this out that was so good because it was so ridiculous. I think Samuel Alito won the week. Congrats, Sam.
Yeah.
Sammy.
For me, after Matt's plane-themed rant, that was certainly my fault for bringing it up. Apologies to everyone who had to hear it. But after that, I realized that people who fly private, I think, won this week, because they don't have to deal with any of the bullshit that Matt was describing. So that feels like a win for them. That's what I'm going with.
It's very tone deaf of you, Emma. I feel like you just sold yourself out. You just sold yourself out somehow.
Hey.
Predictions.
I can go. I can do back to back. I think that Jim Ryan's cats are going to go on strike until they have a collective bargaining agreement with him that promises to not allow a dog in their household.
Wow.
There. I think that's highly likely.
Can I take Emma? Can I change my decision of who won the week after that terrible prediction? I'll go next. I think next week a company yells very loudly and poignantly in a meaningful way, not just some stupid way, about supporting abortion rights. We finally find a company in America who is willing to take a stand and say something thoughtful against what's happening.
I bet it's
next
Bumble.
Week.
I bet Whitney Wolf Herd is going to get in there.
So that's a double prediction from Emma. That's my prediction. Matt, you got anything?
I'm just predicting that Elon Musk joins the board of Twitter.
It doesn't buy the company and ends up on the board?
I think he doesn't buy the company, he ends up on the board of Twitter. And I think the whole thing is going to be, and then he'll be there for 1 year and he'll quit. And that was it. That was the whole thing.
I will remind our millions of listeners that we asked this question a few weeks ago. Will he ultimately buy it? You two said yes. I said no. So I feel like I'm feeling good about my position still.
He is looking for a way to back out. All right. That's all we got today. That is Damian Ross and Emma Lurking. I'm Matt Muscari.
That was a lot. Thanks. I feel like we brought a lot.
Yeah.
We brought a lot, and we did it in a decent time.
Yeah,
actually.
It's pretty nice. Not bad for a Friday.
And thanks to Greg Larkin for dropping in for a punk minute too.
Greg, come on.
Always, Greg. Always.
Best.
We'll see you again next week. And
Literally the best.
You, the listener.
The listener's the best. Literally.
No, they're not.